Hey guys, it's Moonlander back with another movie review, and today we're going to be looking at a new movie available for rent on Amazon Prime called Deep Murder. But I have a couple of things I want to talk about before we get into this movie. Number one, I probably would have had another review about a week ago. I rented Nightmare Cinema on Amazon as well, which ran for $6.99. And now this is a horror anthology, and it has an interesting set of directors. I mean, these guys aren't exactly slouches, and I wanted to review it, but I found that anthology so boring. I found myself fast forwarding through some of the shorts, and this even has Mickey Rourke in the connecting segments between the shorts, and even that sucked. I mean, he barely says anything. It's completely meaningless. And this movie is currently sitting at a 5.5 IMDb rating and a 59 meta score. So I guess there's people out there that found enjoyment from it, but me personally, I thought it sucked and was extremely boring, and I do not suggest watching it. And secondly, I watched MIDSOMMAR last night. I'm not gonna do a review because, I mean, I couldn't take notes when I was watching it in the theater, and plus it's a little late. I mean, it's been out a couple weeks. I just don't really want to do a review for it, but will talk about it briefly. I was excited for this, and I personally think Hereditary is one of the best horror movies I've seen in recent years. I know some people might disagree, but that's me personally. I really liked it. Now, I did read about this movie and watch a review of it before seeing it, and I think that might have raised my expectations, and it may have taken away from the experience. But personally, for me, I think this movie is a little overrated. There's talk of this really well done building sense of dread, and that's the horror part of the movie, is the unknown and what's gonna happen. But for me, I did not like and I did not care about one character in the movie, so that building sense of dread was impossible for me to achieve when I didn't care what happened to these people. And the main character, who I guess you're supposed to sympathize with, I mean, I couldn't stand her either, and all the other gross characters that are in this movie. I will say, however, it is quite the spectacle. There is some decent gore scenes in it. I was surprised by. And it does have some interesting cult stuff to look at, but overall, I mean, I just didn't feel that it was all that great. I mean, it is worth watching. I would suggest watching it. I don't think it's all it's cracked up to be, as far as I'm concerned. And I will say finally that I enjoyed Hereditary much more than MIDSOMMAR. Okay, so on a brighter note, let us get into this Deep Murder movie.
What do we do now?
We should call 911.
Yeah, I know those numbers. I'll do it.
Somebody call for a private dick? I believe he was murdered.
Murdered on purpose?
But who would do such a thing?
The killer must be one of us.
One of us!
It's
swear I didn't do it.
Jace is not a killer?
No.
We're all trapped in a house with a serial killer.
This sucks!
We need to find him before he finds us.
Now, I will mention that this, at the time, had only 5 reviews, and it was at 5 stars, and all of the reviews looked legitimate, in my opinion. However, it was sitting at a 4.0 on IMDb with 207 reviews. However, all the written ones were positive. And I did watch this trailer, and I mean, it looked okay. I wasn't sure, but it was the best I could come up with what the new releases are in the horror section. So I went ahead and paid $6.99 to watch this movie, and I did not regret it. So this movie starts off as if you are watching a softcore porn on Cinemax or whatever, sometime in the 90s probably.
Oh God, I just feel so wrong with my husband, your brother, downstairs, and my son, your nephew, down the hall with his best friend, and the babysitter, presumably somewhere in the house.
Things are about to get filthy.
Now it even starts off with a warning, and it says not for viewers under 28, and I think that's implying like you probably gotta at least be that old to maybe fully understand the concept of softcore porn. So the basic description of this is this Jerry O'Connell guy is about to get it on with this woman in this mansion, and as far as that goes, the next thing you know, he's stabbed to death in the bed, and the movie unfolds kind of like a whodunit, you know, and other characters enter the story, like a detective and a weather scientist. And more people get killed until the killer is finally revealed. So the things I liked about Deep Murder is this movie was hilarious. I mean, it's about the funniest movie I think I've watched in I don't know how long, to be honest. And every character in this movie's funny. They're all extremely dumb, and they're all over the top, and somehow it works and remains funny, and it's not like just off-putting. Now, this movie is full of just a countless amount of funny lines. The writing has got to be probably the best part of this. There's such as when the weather scientist exclaims that Hurricane Muff is already upon us. And when this jock guy is flirting with the babysitter, and his approach is just to tell her that he's a quarterback, and he tells his friend that that's how it's done, and she replies, lucky for him, she's a tight end. You know, this sounds really corny, probably coming out of my mouth, but these people pull it off in this movie. It's funny. And I also found it very amusing, even though it's kind of simple, is there's talk throughout the whole thing about this massive storm approaching, and the whole reason this weather scientist is at the house is she's there to warn them there's an evacuation of the city. However, it's too late, so she must take shelter with them. And yet her clothes are all wet and she's drenched, and it's clearly sunny and warm outside. Now, I don't want to give too much of the movie away. All I can say finally is that this movie has excellent writing. Obviously there's a couple actors in here that you're gonna recognize, but for me, the rest of the cast to me is just an unknown cast of actors. However, they all do good. I enjoyed every character in the movie, and that's surprising to me. Now, the only bad thing I can say about Deep Murder is I definitely found myself enjoying the first half of it a lot more than the second. Not to say that I didn't enjoy it as a whole, it's just the first half was, I was laughing a lot more. Okay, so my final thoughts on Deep Murder is, look, I highly suggest this movie. Obviously, like, some people, the humor is going to be lost on them, but overall, I just think this is a really funny movie, and it's well performed, well written. I think if you watched softcore porn when you were a kid, or as a adult even, you're gonna like this even more. And this is a movie I know for sure that I'm going to buy and look forward to owning. I give it a 9 out of 10. Alright, you guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next review.